Shalom, everybody. Rabbi Edelstein here with a special and quick installment of Rabbi E in 3, brought to you by Maor DC. Why is it special and quick? Well, I want to be quick, but it's special because I wasn't going to do a video tonight. I did a Hanukkah message a couple of nights ago that I'm sure you all watched, right? Or you could still watch. But I was going to take the weekend off. An event in the world at large corresponded so powerfully. There was a parallel so powerful, perhaps even miraculous, between an event in the world at large and this week's Torah portion that I had to come and speak about it. And I'm sure many, many rabbis and observers in general of Torah and of the world will note this incredible parallel, not a coincidence, but an incredible parallel between events in the world and the Torah portion. This week's portion is Miketz, towards the end of the book of Genesis. It's the story of Yosef being hastily released from prison. In last week's Torah portion, he was imprisoned for something he didn't do. He languished in jail. He didn't languish. He actually flourished in jail, but he was in a jail for 12 years. And then in this week's Torah portion, he's whisked out of there to interpret a dream, a troubling dream that Pharaoh has. And this, if you remember the story, Joseph had correctly interpreted a dream of the baker of Pharaoh and the cupbearer, and now 2 years later the cupbearer remembers when Pharaoh is troubled about a dream and says, there was a Hebrew slave in prison with me a couple of years ago, and he interpreted a dream correctly for me. And within the blink of an eye, Pharaoh sent and summoned Yosef, and they rushed him from the dungeon. Not just took him, but rushed him from the dungeon, and he was standing in front of Pharaoh, and he interpreted his dream, and within minutes he was elevated to the position of viceroy, second in command in Egypt, for his wisdom and his discernment that Pharaoh saw in him and the Spirit of God in him. A miraculous release from imprisonment. Now, those of you who follow the news know a Jewish man named Alan Gross, cruelly imprisoned for 5 years in Egypt. Now, I'm not equating Alan Gross to Yosef Atzadik. He should live and be well, Alan Gross, and have a wonderful life of freedom, but an incredible thing. There's no other Torah portion I'm aware of, and I don't think there is one, where there's a release from imprisonment. And on the very week of this Torah portion in Hanukkah, this portion's always read at the time of Hanukkah. And Hanukkah, the whole theme of from darkness to light, from the depth of almost despair, a salvation, a miraculous salvation. An incredible parallel. I guarantee you that President Obama and Raul Castro didn't look through the Torah portion and plan out the release of Alan Gross on this week's Torah portion. But our sages tell us that if we look in the Torah portion and in ourselves and in the world every week, if we look with sufficient sensitivity, we'll see astounding parallels. It's incredible. Hashem, we say in the second blessing of the Amidah, Hashem is Matir Asurim. He releases the imprisoned. And he released the imprisoned man named Alan Gross like he did Yosef Atzadik a long, long time ago. When the salvation of Hashem comes for Yosef, for him, or for us in our own difficulties, it can come very quickly, and it will come quickly, from darkness to light. These are days of miraculous, days of focusing on the miracle of Jewish existence, of Jewish survival, of going from darkness to light, from the depths of despair, God forbid, to the heights of enlightenment, illumination, and salvation. Have a wonderful Shabbos.